Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to ScreenJunkies Universe. It's going to be a big day today. There's lots to talk about. We got the Emmys. We got Captain Marvel. Lots of things to say. I'm Roth Cordet. That's Dan Murrow.
Hello, hello.
Joe Starr is here.
Hey.
Joining us is Mr. Billy Business.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm out of my corner.
I know. We let you out.
I
Get
know,
back in your corner.
I'm very
For
excited.
now. You'll be sent back there eventually.
Oh, you're like the Harry Potter uncle?
I suppose so.
Okay.
Yeah. Get under your stair.
Aunt Vernon.
Let's talk about Captain Marvel. This was revealed on Good Morning America. We have lots of... They showed, actually, I think, quite a little bit about the plot of the movie. It is both an origin story and not an origin story. So she lands in the middle of a blockbuster, which I do like that touch. In the 90s, let you know right away that you're in the 90s because there is a blockbuster.
Yep.
And she's already powered. She's already Captain Marvel. She doesn't remember her history on Earth. It starts to come back to her seemingly in the film. So we're going to get an origin story and an adventure at the same time. What do you think, Joe? Yeah, you have notes.
Yeah, I made an effort today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I like this trailer overall. I think my big thing that I'm still wait and see on, and before everybody harps on me, I was very wait and see on Chris Evans as Captain America, and then now he's Captain America for me. So I think I'm still wait and see on Brie Larson as Captain America because I haven't been able to remove Emily Blunt as Captain Marvel in my head yet. So that's just my Wizard magazine casting brain being very stubborn. But overall, I think it's a cool looking trailer. I think we saw a lot of neat stuff. I think it did a good job teasing what the movie's going to be about without laying out story beats necessarily.
Although
it gave us the flavor, I think. We're getting the origin story. We might get two stories being told from two different timelines sort of simultaneously.
Did you get this theme from the fact that they kept cutting to her at different stages in her life falling? Like she was a little girl falling on the baseball field. She was falling during basic training, it looked like. She kept falling, and then in the end, they kept cutting to this moment of her hand where she like gets up. To me, that's like the theme of the movie, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
She falls and then
Why
you get
do we
knocked
fall,
down, you
Master
get back
Marvel?
up again.
Yeah,
So we
why
can-
do we fall, Mr.
Yeah. It's not how many times you fall, it's how you get back up, right? Like that's the basic theme I got.
Yeah, and I think...
Oh, man, she's a klutz, kind of.
little
If you
bit.
cut it together like that. She needs a life alert.
taking them falls. And I think the movie could sort of play in that too, because like the Kree aren't good guys.
Right.
So she's basically, working for an army that's horrible garbage. Like, Ronan the Accuser is a Kree. Like they're not great. The Skrulls aren't great. Neither of them are great. That's the point of like the Kree Skrull War in the comics is that they only care about their war. They don't care like who gets decimated in the process. So she's kind of working for the bad guys. So that sort of falls into that falling theme too. Is that that I think that might be half the movie is because we see all the stuff with her and Shield and what looks like Pegasus because we need more acronyms in the Marvel universe. And then it looks like we have this also because there's still a lot of green suit Kree stuff, like them going on different missions together with Space Force. I'm not calling it Kree Star Force. It's Space Force.
Space Force.
So, yeah.
Let's not confuse. It is Star Force.
It is the Kree Star Force. I'm just very excited.
And Jude Law, big year for him overall in terms of like he's both Dumbledore, he's joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he only gets that one brief second
Moment.
there. But just from his facial expression, I'm like, probably villain. Probably main
Billy's
villain.
calling it.
Yep, just from the face, it's like, dare
Law-
you defy me? That's
Jude
that
Law
face.
is so good at being a villain that I'm not convinced that they're not just going to make Dumbledore a villain. I'm not in Fantastic that they're just going to be like, I know there's continuity, but whatever, he's evil, he's Jude Law. That's how good he is at being sinister for me. I don't think Marvel. I know that's the big rumor is that he'll be the OG Captain Marvel, but that seems
I thought
too
he's
obvious.
the leader of he's the leader of Star Force. So I do think you're right. I think that maybe she takes a turn in the movie and she's like, I'm not with you anymore.
Yeah,
And
I'm not with the pursuer and the accuser.
Yeah.
That was a good Jude Law impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, that's when she's like standing over him and her fists are all
Yeah.
energized and he's like, yeah.
Oh,
I think you
shit.
got
We
it.
made her too strong. Hey, what did you think over there, Billy?
I know this is like one of the handful of Marvel characters I know absolutely nothing about, like almost nothing. So I really liked it. I watched it this morning with my wife, and she's like, "Why is she punching a grandma? Why is she punching a grandma?"
And you're
I
like,
was like,
yeah, exactly.
it's complicated, but it is interesting that
Because
they
she had it coming.
yeah, because she stole her knitting tools. It is interesting that they put that moment in there with no really context as to what a scroll is, to just leave people being like, oh, and she also beats up the elderly.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked because that's all that anyone's
course,
talking
right.
about is the fact that she hit an old lady and why she hit an old lady. Whap!
Well, do you
Yeah, suck it, old lady.
do you think they do that on purpose to force people to Google like?
Oh, yeah.
What does a Cree and why would she be?
And you can
I love
absolutely
the boomerang there,
Yeah,
JT.
good job.
you can absolutely find your answers at the Marvel Wiki, powered by fandom.
Two
Dum-dum.
days in a row, Joe. Good job.
I know who's writing my checks.
But I bet you, we can actually pull up this data, and I bet you a lot of people are doing just that, right?
totally,
Because
yeah.
everything I saw was, why is she hitting this old woman?
Yeah, and then we had like we had some like cool Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. touches. Finally, as the guy who constantly wishes there were Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. things in the movies, they fly a bus towards a spaceship. That's the plane they fly around in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The bus, yeah.
And Sam Jackson actually looks cool.
It looks pretty good. Dan, did you? I mean, that was one of the things that I think we all were a little nervous about, was the de-aged Coulson and Nick Fury. So, but he looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, these are trailer shots, so
Yeah,
these
yeah,
are
I
gonna
mean,
get
these are
the
the best
extra
of the
special
best.
touches.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the best of the best. So, but they've kind of got the de-aging thing down more or less.
Yeah.
There's still a couple times where I'm like,
The only one, I mean, the Coulson one looked weird because I don't think Clark Gregg's ever had that full a head of hair, like ever. At
I think he
16,
looks
it was a little
like
thinner.
current day Clark Gregg when that movie was released. You don't need to de-age him because he's always looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think, particularly in the later stages of Marvel, I found that their first trailers do one of two things. Either they do something like crazy, like not crazy, but like the first Age of Ultron trailer or the first Guardians trailer where they do the Pinocchio thing, or they did like the pop music, and it's like, boom, this is this kind of thing. Or
Here's
it's
the feel.
or it's like Ant-Man, and kind of how I feel this movie goes, where the first trailer is superhero movie, the movie. And that's kind of how I felt about this trailer. It's not that a like-dislike thing, but it felt like superhero movie, the movie. Crashed from the Stars thing. I got energy. Because it's like Billy said,
Punched
this is
an
not
old
a
lady in
character
the
that
face.
people
Yeah,
are familiar
like
with.
superheroes do.
So you've got to throw out a trailer that's like, she's a superhero, she's got energy. This is going to be about... This is in the 90s. It's this information dump.
It's almost
of like
it's explainer the trailer a little bit. Yeah, I get that.
yeah.
But
So
if that's the
or
goal, then I feel like they did a really good job, because like from that trailer, and now I'm like, okay, she was part of some army. She fell to Earth. She might have been there before. Like I get the puzzle pieces they wanted
Yeah.
you to absorb from it. So in that instance, if that was the goal, they did a great job.
Plus, the two-part purpose of this movie, I would imagine, is one, to tell, I hope, a good story and an entertaining story, but also to set up the fact that when 3 months later she shows up and is able to save the world in the way that the entire Avengers team wasn't, that you understand how powered she is, right?
Yeah, I think it was a very it served two purposes. I think fans of the character were probably very excited by it, and I think the people that didn't know who she was were probably informed by it. So there you go.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Job
people.
done.
A lot of people on my Twitter timeline who are like fans of this character were really excited. There are shots where she has the mask over and
Yeah, I like the
the
mask and the
mohawk type braid. Like apparently that's a big deal. Which I think it looks cool either way. I don't
Yeah.
know what's happening right there, but
Swimming. Just swimming. Yeah, I really like that look on her. I think in addition to sort of setting you up for her appearance in Avengers, I think there's going to be some scene setting for like rebuilding S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, especially if the MCU is going to do a lot of touch up, post Avengers and losing cast members and stuff like that, I think you're going to need that that easy sort of cheat of a backbone of S.H.I.E.L.D. walking around saying, "Hey, come over here, join the Avengers." And I think the easiest way for them to do it now is to go backwards to the 90s and be like, here's some elements of S.H.I.E.L.D. you didn't know about, so that they can easily relay the groundwork, so you don't have to go through the weird they've already all been destroyed. Of like, we're rebuilding some helicarriers, and here's all the bureaucracy of getting Shield back together. So.
Yeah, who cares about any of that, right?
Yeah. God, I don't want to see that in the slightest.
Isn't that what Agents of Shield
Shield, yeah.
is? Is that exactly
It's
what
kind of the show.
Agents of Shield is?
Yeah. Those unloved heroes have done all that heavy lifting. With Target, I'm glad that they also say Target in French, like I do, to sound fancy.
I do think so. There was a fair bit of table setting, I think, in the movie, right? Like it's setting up that she doesn't remember her past. It's setting up how powered she is. It's setting up the fact that, well, the enemy is, I mean, Ronan the Accuser. Don't you miss him? He's back. It's setting up who the enemy is, who she's fighting. But to your point, Joe, I mean, it's interesting because she's going to be fighting herself a little bit too, right? Because she's fighting them, but also fighting with like other assholes.
Yeah. And you know what? On the Ronin thing.
Sorry, I don't know why. And I promised myself I would. You know what, Billy, get me a jar because I need to be punished.
The SJU swear jar.
Yes.
Yeah. Who do we donate the
I
SJU
swear.
swear jar proceeds to? We gotta figure that out.
I don't. Well, charity of your choice. Leave it in the
We
comments.
reserve
below.
cursing only for
Yeah.
griping about Jurassic World sequels.
That's true. You're right.
Or
you're right.
JT.
Which we
yawning.
dropped so much language on the honest trailer commentary today. So
Everyone's right, and I apologize, and I will do better. I'm
But,
gonna stop cursing in
You
general.
know, on the Ronin Accuser thing, I think this is why you don't kill off every friggin' villain that you have in every single movie, because this is how you use them. Like all of them don't have to be Thanos level interesting and threatening guys, but I wish that they could do this in the current timeline where it's like, hey, Thanos showed up, and instead of having to introduce Ebony Maw and Hotshot Skipper and Universal
Corvus
Punch
Glaive.
and Corvus Glaive and Tremendous Car and whatever their stupid names were, you could just go, here's Ronan the Accuser, here's Pursuer Guy, and villains you already know, so that they can be more like Turk in the Defenders.
People don't know Call Obsidian.
What?
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 The best character in that movie.
So I'm glad they get to do it in a flashback where it's like we're keeping our toys, on the table a little bit.
So set up a little bit, if anyone doesn't know, just real quick, like how she was powered by the Kree, and then why she would be fighting the Skrulls.
Oh, it's so she's fighting the Skrulls because that's all the Kree do.
Okay.
Is fight the Skrulls. It's one of the dumbest names in comics, but I love it. But she got her powers from a thing called like the Psych Magnetron, I think it's called.
Don't look at me, man. Don't look at me.
Asking the wrong
Which is
people.
also who would also be like a sick Transformer. Like I would watch I want to see Bumblebee just.
Wait, what is it?
The Psych Magnetron?
Well, Magnetron, if you remember, I have great Oceans trivia, was Oceans 13, which is how they got Willie Banks' casino. All the power to go out was the Magnetron, which was the phone.
Which
Same
then
thing.
powers Captain Marvel.
Sick! So Oceans 11 and the MCU are all
Confirmed.
one universe?
Completely confirmed.
Magnetron, for those at home, you'll also remember, is the name of the archenemy of the X-Men.
Absolutely.
So even more
Magnetron.
Easter eggs
Magnetron,
to
yeah.
the Oceans.
Magnetron. It's
Yeah,
not
sorry,
called
Magnetron. Magnetron.
It's not called a Magtrint.
Yes.
Yeah, basically a big space machine gave her powers.
And I think we see a little bit of that big space machine. giving
yeah,
her
in that little
powers when
blow
she's
up, yeah.
hanging upside down and being like, oh, let's fry your brain and make you powerful.
Yeah, that's the psych part of it.
Yeah. I thought it looked cool. There's a little Easter egg in addition to, I think they gave enough information to make people go to the internet and find out more information before they see the movie, which solves a lot of problems for anyone that would walk in confused. But also,
Or hopefully the movie will answer those questions. for
well,
them, too.
you know what? Honestly, let's talk about that in a minute. But I think a lot of times, didn't we hear recently from someone who was cutting trailers for a studio that they said how the studios felt is that they want you to know walking in because they're afraid of confusing people.
For certain,
Doesn't surprise me.
For certain movies, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the one that I always talk about, that guy that cut the trailer for Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
He was like, the studio was like, this movie makes no sense. Let's get all the story out of the way in the trailer.
So
when
you'll just go.
So you'll go watch for the nostalgia part.
It's so sad.
It's so
Wow.
sad. So I think this will be a better movie than that.
Yes.
But let's talk about Captain Cat because that's a very important reality for me. Can we pull up the poster, JTE? Okay, good. Now let's go to the close-up of the corner of the poster.
Enhance.
Enhance.
Nope.
I think
No.
I put an enhanced version in the
It's pre-enhanced.
SJT.
Pre-enhanced.
Okay.
No.
No.
It
Well,
was not
if you look in the
pre-enhanced.
corner of the poster, it looks like there's a little cat there, which makes you curious. Like, oh, Captain Marvel likes cats. I like you so much more now.
Yeah.
However, enhance and then go down to the corner.
Real time zooming.
This is her pet Chewie, named after Chewbacca.
Oh.
It resembles a cat, but it's actually an alien creature, a flurkin, that looks like a cat but has interdimensional powers. Like, I am so here for Chewie the Flurkin. I am so here for you, Chewie.
Oh,
Well,
they're
they've
gonna,
got the rights to the name, which is good.
Yeah, yeah, super easy. They're gonna absolutely crush on plush sales.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be a mug. Yeah, this is Marvel Porgs.
Like how
And it's gonna
long
crush.
do you think they'll hold this Flurkin back though?
I don't know.
'Cause
I was reading before we came in here some stuff about what a flurkin can do, and they lay like a bajillion eggs and
Yes.
can travel interdimensionally to different places in space.
So maybe it can go through and like get people out of the Soul Stone. Like, what if
There
a
you go.
cat saves everyone?
Then this just became your favorite franchise.
This
Yes,
became
of
my
all time.
favorite franchise of all
So I'm
time.
assuming that after she turns on Jude Law and he looks up and he says,
No.
"No, Jude Law,"
How dare you?
then he's like, "Ah," and then the cat gets her out of there.
Yeah, I'm into it. I
We
mean, are you into a cat saving the day?
No,
Oh,
I love cats, but no.
What about a cat that can teleport?
Worse.
Well, we already have Lockjaw. Isn't that a teleporting dog?
Oh, we don't have Lockjaw because we don't have the Inhumans. That
Well-
never happened.
Oh, sorry. That was a fever dream I must have had at some point that Inhumans was a thing that I maybe saw in IMAX.
Yeah, that never happened.
Okay.
So I think Flurkin, the Flurkin is the redo.
Okay. The reboot.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't reveal the Flurkin at Comic-Con
yeah.
with
Are you?
with like a horde of exclusive plush toys. Like I'm actually kind of shocked.
I think they're probably hesitant
like
about
cute
it because
things.
people could really look at the Porg controversy, and then people could just get so focused on that one thing that they could forget like the overall story they're trying to tell and the introduction of Captain Marvel and all these other things. Like it could just be a
Don't want to
huge-
overshadow her with a cat.
You don't want to overshadow. You know, like they say, don't work with animals or kids. Like you don't want to overshadow her with a cat.
Fair.
And then plus, I think people could be very afraid that that looks cheesy or like they're not into it.
If the first thing I saw from this movie was just a picture of a cat, I'd be like, what the F movie is this?
is
I'm
going
not
on?
interested at all in the
Yeah.
slightest.
I think it was a smart move to just shadow it in the corner for nerds who would be like, is that a cat?
Is that a flurkin?
Wait, is that a Flurkin?
Knowing that we would
doing?
take that small detail and make it the centerpiece of our analysis.
Well, it's the
Yes.
centerpiece of my analysis. I know
Checkmate.
that much for sure. Marvel,
Jack and mate.
Feige, you've done it again. I'm into it. Speaking of Feige doing it again, not surprisingly, I like the trailer. I think you're right, Dan. It's a lot of table setting, but it's probably necessary table setting.
I bet the next one's gonna have the jokey jokes,
Little jokey.
plotty plot.
It doesn't feel
All
jokey
your
joke
stuff.
to me. Does it feel?
There will be
The
at
first
least
ones rarely do.
Yeah.
The Ant-Man, if you recall, the first trailer for Ant-Man was like deadly serious.
And then the second trailer for Ant-Man was
Ants! Ant-Man! Yeah, exactly.
I think
So,
the next trailer will definitely at least start with a very prominent 90s song.
Yeah.
Just in case you're not sure. I was actually surprised it wasn't in this, but there will be in the second one.
yeah.
Something Alanis Morissette.
Okay.
Or-
I was
You
gonna
ought to
be-
know.
you-
We'll start.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
I'm gonna go mid-90s RHCP.
Okay. I'm gonna go End of the Road.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so it's like a more
Boyz II
dramatic
Men,
trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
She's gonna be blowing up her fellow Kree as he's like, baby.
I'm going insane in
sorry.
the brain.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Because she got psych Magnetron.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Because of the Magnetron situation.
Yeah,
I like that.
Or maybe a little Rage Against the Machine.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think I think Coulson also has Captain America Pogs in addition to those trading cards. And he's definitely going to teach her how to play Pog.
No, he's got a Captain America Tamagotchi that he has to feed every.
Otherwise, it freezes in ice. Yeah.
How many 90s references per 10 minutes?
A bunch.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
I'm betting outside
20.
of space. Yeah, there's going
Yeah.
to be a lot of 90s stuff.
I'm betting 20.
Yeah.
That's all right.
They're going to be showing her culture, and she's going to be like, "Why does that friend group dance in a fountain?
Yeah.
Aren't they cold?" Yeah.
Also happening. Are we good? Do we feel complete on Captain Marvel for now? Because we have
I do.
Emmys to talk
Yes,
about.
I
Yes,
do.
we feel complete. Good. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let's talk about those Emmys. I'm gonna just pop through the biggest winners of the night, which are outstandingly Mrs. Maisel, which I've been telling you is so good. The Emmys agreed with me, as it turns out. Outstanding lead actress in a comedy series, Rachel Brosnahan for Mrs. Maisel. Outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. Another one I love, Bill Hader for Barry, which if
Very
you guys have
excited
not
about that.
watched Barry, you really should. It's awesome. Outstanding supporting actor in a drama series, Peter Dinklage for Game of Thrones. Outstanding support. He gave an interesting speech. Let's get to that. Outstanding supporting actress in a drama series, Tandy Newton for Westworld. Outstanding lead actor in a drama series, Matthew Rhys for The Americans. Yes, finally. Thank you. A little bit of love for The Americans. Unfortunately, they're already forgetting about Killing Eve, another great series that will largely go unnoticed for the next 6 years until it is, I imagine. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series, Claire Foy for The Crown. That's where I would have loved to see Carrie Russell win for The Americans, because this was the final season, or Sandra Oh for
But
Killing
Claire
Eve.
Foy's final season
But,
too, though.
yeah,
so, it's
you know,
tough. Who do you
it's who do you
you
pick?
reward?
Outstanding limited series, Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story. Outstanding comedy series, The Marvelous Maisel. Outstanding drama series, Game of Thrones. That one took a lot of people by surprise.
I was surprised.
Yeah, because for not I love Game of Thrones, but this season versus that final season of The Americans did surprise me.
It makes it like 2 years behind actual quality generally.
Yeah.
Like things will peak and then unless it's like a breakout hit and then they're like, oh yes, no, or they want to be a trendsetter. So they're rewarding season 2 at this point.
My overall takeaway from the night, and I don't know about you guys, did you watch the show? You were did you watch the show?
I did, yeah.
Was
I was up late.
the show itself was oddly paced.
It really was.
Yeah.
And the competition was insane. It's like we always talk about the idea that it's the golden age of television, but there is so much good TV on right now. Like this is just even a small sampling of what's available. That's kind of my big takeaway. Did you like the hosts?
No, they were awful.
Okay.
Che and Joust were terrible. It's not, if you're hosting a show, it's not your job to be really funny and like knock your jokes out. It's your job to energize the crowd, both in the room and watching at home, and carry that energy through a show. And a very stilted Weekend Update read of quick, punchy, edgy one-liners like isn't that. I think they're both solid writers and good comedians, but not the people to carry a live broadcast. And I think that kicked it off weird. I thought that kicked the energy off weird to the whole thing. And then that just continued through. The nominees before the banter for presenters felt weird. I wasn't quite sure what the reasoning was behind that decision.
The Maya Rudolph and
God.
that was so bad.
After the second time, I fast forwarded. It was late. I had no patience or time for. It felt like the show itself felt like a bad episode of Saturday Night Live, which ironically would then go on to win the Emmy for Best Sketch Series, which I don't think this last season was even close to its strongest season. They just literally trotted Alec Baldwin out to say what Trump had said on Twitter, and it's like, ha, Emmy, please.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple good sketches, but I mean, in totality, for me to look at that entire season and be like, that was better than all of those. That's weird, but all of the bits felt like, it's their 4th week on cycle. Let's go on vacation. What do we got left? It's just like, okay, this sketch should have wrapped up 5 minutes ago, and they kept going back. Kept going back. And I was reading it had record low ratings for the Emmys, which is not good.
It wasn't great.
But you had great moments.
Yeah, there were some
Henry
fantastic
Winkler
moments.
wins his
Henry
first Emmy.
Winkler.
The
Yes.
TV
Yeah.
legend wins his first Emmy, and then the guy proposing to his girlfriend, like.
Okay, well, let's button that because I want to discuss how we felt actually about that.
Okay.
Well, no, I don't mean to cut you off. We can talk about it now. As a
No.
matter of fact.
I
It
just
made me
thought that,
so uncomfortable. Am
Really?
I dead inside? Yes. Honestly, like I know it was I know you're gonna judge. It's fine.
wonder why I don't like to call
I
you
know
my
it's
girlfriend?
objectively like a
Because I wanna
beautiful,
call-
lovely moment. It was like so much intimacy because first he talked about his mom passing 2 months ago, and then he proposed to his girlfriend on stage. I was overwhelmed. I really was like, I don't know how to feel. I mean, that's very sweet. But did everyone love it?
I did.
yeah.
Yeah, me too. I also
I don't know. To me, it's kind of like the guy who proposes at like a football
ball
game.
game?
Yeah, just on a bigger stage.
I
It's not my cup of tea. It's a little gaudy. For
I
me,
understand
but-
the like on a sort of non-emotional sort of level, the idea of like the public proposal sort of being uncomfortable possibly for everyone involved, but on the
I mean, you have to know.
It was
But on the-
obviously a slam dunk.
I was
Yeah,
so
no.
Yeah, you got it.
nervous.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
obviously there was
Yeah.
no.
What was his backup plan if he hadn't won though? Just to do it
Exactly,
at the
like-
reception?
Sure. I mean, listen, if I were planning to propose
Mm-hmm.
and I won an effing Emmy, you bet your ass I would choose that moment.
Yeah.
What better time are you ever gonna have? You have a peak career moment. Let's make it a twofer.
Next year,
Let's
buddy.
do it. Come on.
I was
But then
so
there's nowhere to
nervous.
go but down. Like your wedding
Yeah.
can't be that awesome.
No,
Like,
you have the wedding at the
He,
Tonys.
no. He's the
you got
Oscar.
your entire-
You know why
Yeah.
he
have a
won
kid
the
at
Emmy?
the Oscars?
He won the Emmy for producing the Oscars, so they just get married at the Oscars, and then it's a full circle situation.
Boom,
I was
done.
so nervous. I was like, "What if he didn't win? What if she says no? I'm very uncomfortable."
But that
What if
he,
this just
see,
goes
here's the
up in
thing. That
flames?
is where you just gotta let those feelings ride and lean into them, because that's drama. That's being entertained. Is
Yeah.
when you have a moment of anticipation and you go
But-
and then it happens, and then you go yay. That's part of feeling, Ruff.
Okay, I don't.
Did they
still,
know
A lot
that
of-
he was going to do
Coach
that?
me on this
No,
later.
because my other favorite thing is that they all know each other. Because at one point, I think the guy's name was like Hamish. Just was like, "Sorry, Hamish, I'm gonna be a minute." Like they all know the directors, so you could tell he was just like, "Hey, man, sorry, professional." He's probably done the Emmys before. He's just like, "I got to do a thing," and they're like, "Okay, do your thing." So you can tell they didn't know what was going on. But that was the weird thing about the show was like. A lot of times it's like you got to get the hosts out there to sort of break up the monotony of the awards. But like this time it was the speeches were generally pretty good and you had some exciting winners and you had new shows winning and Amy Sherman Palladino came out. She won 2 in a row. She had good speeches.
Never
people
happened
thanking her
before. She
family. And then it would get bogged down by the host coming out and being like, let's do our bits. Roseanne, huh? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, just know enough to know when
Yeah.
to get out of the way
It
and
just-
realize that you actually have a good show for once.
Yeah,
And
their
no,
energy
they
just
would bog it down.
doesn't work for it. For them to just come out like, and hit the brakes by being like, "Hey, you know who's funny? Us." And it's like that's just like not the energy you want. That's why Billy Crystal was so good when he hosted the Oscars. He knows how to like carry a show, and he knows how to give focus to the show and move you through it, instead of cutting to in the what I'll call the third act of your Emmys to be like, let's hit the brakes and do this very slow, awkward bit with Maya and Fred Armisen. Was so weird and sadder for me because I think Maya Rudolph's one of the most talented people in the world. And so I was just like, why? Why is this happening?
Well, and Lauren Michaels produced
what
the
was
show.
thesis
Yes.
I'm just curious. Like, what was the thesis of that bit? Because I agree with you. They are both
They
two of
didn't
the
even-
most talented people in the world.
they
Like,
didn't
what
even
was
do the bit correctly.
I don't know.
If your sketch is we're supposed to be Emmy historians and we're just wrong, just play that sketch. Don't play disinterested wrong Emmy historians. Like,
Right.
stop putting extra things on your crap. The raptor doesn't also need a gun pointed at its victim. Just let the raptor go chase the guy. Don't
Yeah.
add the gun. They added the gun. This is a callback to the Jurassic World video we shot yesterday. But like, they just added too much crap to it. Just play the joke that they don't actually know about
Better
the Emmys.
sketch.
Like, that's the sketch.
That one
Ah.
or Louis Anderson's Small Refrigerator.
Louis Anderson Small Refrigerator
Oh my
at the
God.
unaired Creative Arts Emmys.
Who told you about Louis Anderson's Small
I think we
Refrigerator?
did.
He told all of us.
Oh, yeah, we told- yeah.
Oh, I wasn't here.
That's right. That's right.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
Louis
taking
Anderson's
your mom to the
Small
airport.
Refrigerator.
Small Refrigerator was one for the ages.
For those of you that don't know, they do bits at the Creative Emmys as well, and Louis Anderson did one that was just a bomb.
Yeah.
Horrific bomb
Silence in
about
the
inventing
room.
mini refrigerators, and then proceeded to rescue it by just doubling down on it and continuing to reference.
Which I will watch over
Over that one.
And, yeah.
So
Unlike the betting pools thing, which was just at the end of the night, and most people had lost, and everyone was like, "I want to go have a drink," and they did this bit
Yes.
with Nick Kroll. It was not his fault; it was written for him. That just kept going.
So the highlights of the night were, Glenn Weiss is the one that proposed to his fiance after he won for Outstanding Directing of a Variety Special, Jan Svensson. And it was a beautiful moment that we all enjoyed and no one felt uncomfortable. So
You just need to tackle your
This is
fears
human.
about marriage, Rob. I feel like this is just very
you think that
illuminating.
is-
I 100% know
Billy
that's
in
why
the
it's
car-
so off-putting to you. Just because of your feelings about commitment and marriage.
correct.
what?
Yeah, like I have very deep fears of commitment and I have very deep conflicted feelings about the
So
institution
watching
of
someone
marriage.
do it on the grandest
Just
stage
panic.
possible is just
Pure
like,
panic.
oh my God, this is a thing.
I was
oh
like-
no. Feelings.
I could start sweating right now. I'm so nervous. Like, in the car this morning, we were talking it through. He's like, "This is about you and marriage and commitment," and I was like, "That is absolutely true." By the way, hi,
Now I'm
sweetheart.
uncomfortable.
I love you, Caleb. Good.
To a point.
No, to all of the points. It's just marriage. No. It's not about the extent of my feelings. I have the ability for great love. I'm just scared of commitment. That's
Goes on your
all.
highlight reel. I am capable of great love.
I love many things. I love cats.
What if he had adopted a cat on stage?
Oh my God, I would die.
There you
That's
go.
so sweet.
What if it was a flirkin?
It was a like a little rescue flirkin that had been living in the streets of downtown.
I was
Los
just
Angeles.
excited that the pure shock of actually winning Outstanding Lead Actor is what made Bill Hader stand up.
Yeah.
You could tell. They weren't even done saying his name, and just the shock of that, like, pulled him out of his chair. That was very sweet. I like that guy a
An
lot.
electrical jolt.
Yes.
So you said it was record low, yes?
Yeah, the ratings were
Do
not
we-
good.
What do we think it's going to do to save these award shows?
They're
Maybe
not
a
usually on
popular
Mondays, are they?
category?
They're not. Yeah, NBC has a contract with Sunday Night Football, so they could not legally air the Emmys on Sunday night, which is why they're on Monday night. Still against football.
Right.
I don't know. I don't. I think part of it is that we talk about it. The fractious nature of television now is like there's not one show that 30 million people generally. There's a few watch. So there's not one show that people are tuning in to say
The whole world's
you know,
not
the
tuning in for Friends.
No, yeah, exactly. Or when there were 4 networks and all the shows competing were watched by however X many million people. So Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, how many people honestly probably watched that show? I don't mean in this room. I mean in general.
Sorry, I was like,
general.
I have an answer. Me. But no, I take
Did
your
you
point.
watch it?
You know,
Yeah, I love that show. Yeah.
or even Game of
I
Thrones.
think it's probably pretty niche.
Tony
Yeah.
Shalhoub was
Game of Thrones
robbed.
is the biggest
Yeah.
hit that they probably had there
Yeah.
last night. That won a bunch of some awards, and that's about average of what every show that was nominated used to have.
And
at the
it
Emmys.
wasn't a lot of your broad network comedies represented at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the solve is put them online. Put the Emmys on the internet, live stream it, break it up into small little YouTube bits, and do it over the course of a week.
Put the Emmys online, and then they can be nominated for Best Web Variety Show, and then they can lose to Carpool Karaoke like the rest of us.
Absolutely.
And then you'll know how it feels, Emmys.
Yeah, can Emmys
I think that's
nominate
what you do.
themselves for best?
I don't know.
No, I don't.
No?
I don't think.
There's
Yeah,
a
I don't think they
bylaw that
do.
says they can't do that.
Yeah.
But what if their Emmys is so good? They're like, damn, we want some recognition for
I think the
this.
Emmys can be nominated for a Golden Globe,
Yes. Yeah.
and the Golden Globes can be nominated for Emmys.
Emmys.
Oh, I see
And
a
the
partner-
Oscars
I
can
see
be
a
nominated for
partnership
Emmys.
happening
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I see a little.
Because it's
Inside
weird at
job.
it's weird at the creative arts, like how many nominees are the Oscars, like at the other award show. Just feels weird.
Yeah, isn't it kind of incestuous for the Oscars to win at the Emmys?
That's Hollywood, baby.
well, they did.
I know, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It feels a little,
weird.
dirty. A little dirty.
But yeah, I
cleaned
honestly
up by
think
the
though
proposal.
you put them online. Like that's the future of this show. Is
Okay.
it's cut into even shorter bits and thrown online so that every week instead of the big story being no one watched this kind of boring 2-hour show, throughout the week you just trend because this guy proposed or the Fonz won his first Emmy and
Yeah.
look at this great speech, and instead of that whole show, like they just succeed with small bits.
I think that's what people are going to end up watching online is
Oh,
like
yeah.
the proposal and the Fonz. Roxy tweeted out something amazing about the Fonz that we'll talk to her about on Friday, having met him on the plane and thought he was her high school, couldn't really place him, thought he was her high school basketball coach.
Is this the basketball
And then
coach you peed
eventually I was like harassing
be.
him. Was like harassing him about it for like 45 minutes. Eventually he was like, you know me because I'm the Fonz. Leave me alone.
That is the most Roxy story I've ever heard in my life.
I know him because he's very Zuckercorn, but but also because he was the phone.
All right, so 2 thumbs up for Captain Marvel, yeah? And how do we feel about the Emmys?
Winners,
Mixed?
yay.
Winners, yay.
Winners,
Show.
yay.
Nay.
I mean, I watched it the Joe way, the most millennial way possible, which was I just watched people get angry on Twitter all night to know what was happening.
Good. Yeah. People were angry
That's how
about
I
the
view the
Americans.
world, really, at this point.
I was like, what's happening at the Emmys? Oh,
Did you
wait.
guys?
Probably true of a lot of people. It's probably why we find ourselves in the shape we're in because it's a misperception of reality. When you just talk
it's
to
a fun
people,
house mirror. It is
Yeah.
a
Are there
fun
any
house
updates
mirror.
on the Donald Glover mystery? I totally forgot about that until just
what's
now.
the mystery?
Is that a show? Because I'll watch
Well,
it.
because he was dressed as one of the characters from Atlanta was sitting in the front row, like just a really crazy outlandish character, like hugged Bill Hader. That's when everybody.
Oh, that's
first
who that
noticed it.
was. Okay.
Supposedly, and then because Donald Glover was nowhere on camera until later, that character was gone and Donald Glover was around. But that might have already gotten solved. Let me know in the comments. I'm just curious.
But a lot of people also were pissed because Atlanta didn't get recognized. There's just a lot of really, really good television. It's
Yeah.
tough.
I don't like that Lorne Michaels apparently had a 5-minute slot that was just let 96-year-old Betty White go out and just like leave her dangling on a. It's like, come on, man. Like nothing, just. Why?
I thought it was kind of
Yeah.
sweet. I mean, she definitely.
It was very sweet, but
No,
like
she's very sweet. But I
produce it.
mean, she's 96 years old.
Yeah.
Like you have.
You want her to riff?
You want her if you want her to riff, like.
Get somebody up there and
you need to
riff
get
with
out there
her.
and do
Yeah.
like. You had 4 people standing with her on stage, just watching her sort of try to come up with what she would like either prep her or like she's 96.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't just like she's not even 86 or 76 or 66-year-old Betty White. She's 96 years old. She's a legend. She's an institution. But like it was literally like they had just a thing that was just like Betty White walks out. I don't know. Just let her do whatever. It's like you have to
And
produce your
produce
show.
these things a little bit.
This was the second time I panicked that night. Was when she was like,
that was-
it was the
Yeah.
and I related so much to that feeling of like, well, what was it?
Yeah.
Oh, the young lady. She said I was the first lady of TV, but
Poor lady.
I love her. But I
Oh,
kind
she
of loved
does
it
too.
because it was so real. It was like she's like my real grandma, Betty White.
I agree, but I just
Yeah.
you,
She
you
is,
need
but
to have a,
I also wouldn't put my real grandma on national TV and be like entertained for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a 96-year-old
exactly.
woman.
Like,
Yeah. Do your Betty White thing. You want to talk about the Dinklage speech?
Oh, I
that's
did.
right,
I
yeah.
forgot about that. No, I thought it was fine, but it was like there was something about it that seemed like I couldn't tell if he was jokingly being annoyed about his success or if he was like actually a little annoyed. You know what I mean? He was just like, I can't walk down the street
Yeah, like,
anymore,
I
and I
can't
was
walk
like,
down the street anymore.
I kind of feels like you mean that a little bit.
Of
What
course
was
he
your
does.
take?
Yeah.
No, I promise you, even the most successful person in the world, at some point in their life, is like, oh my God, can I not just go
Get
get
a minute.
just a candy bar
And
from
especially
from
for
7-Eleven anymore? No, you can't.
And especially for Dinklage, I promise you, like a good 40% of that can't walk down the street is just friggin' morons and yokels being like, he really is that short.
Remember
Like, I
when he rode a
promise you it
scooter
is,
that
yeah.
one time, and it was like on every internet site for a year?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's what happens. I think
Yeah.
it was. I mean, I think he's being a little self-effacing, but there's probably some truth there.
Yeah, a
It's
little
just
bit,
like
a little
this thing is responsible for these wonderful career moments, but also I can't walk down the street anymore.
Yeah, just get a burger.
Well, you get a trophy for your.
But you get a trophy for your
inconveniences.
pain, so
Yeah.
and a
lot
lot,
of
of money.
Now, if we see him outside
Lot of
walking
money.
around with it while he's on that scooter, I'm going to be like, okay, Dinklage. Yeah.
just back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
This is on you.
So the final takeaway is that the Emmys were a mixed bag, but there's a lot of great television out there.
Yeah, great
It
nominees.
just isn't the Emmys.
It's true.
Ironically,
Yeah.
the Emmys honoring the best in television was not
not
the best of television in the slightest. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to close out today by saying that I am very committed to my partner, and I do have feelings, and they're strong and powerful, and I feel great love for lots of things, including this show and you guys. So thanks for joining us today. We will be back tomorrow with more awkward commentary from me about my feelings and lack thereof. Movie Fights on Thursday with Stacey Howard, Greg Alba, and Sasha Pearlraver. That sounds amazing. Betty White really is my grandmother. Honest Trailer Commentaries available now. And bye.